Looking up above, feeling the love so pure. Even though I stumble, His grace is my cure. From my
Shout out to
head to my
Junichi. This
toe,
is my first
it's a
time
heavenly
watching this live.
flow. Oh, the joy deep inside, it forever will grow. Walking through the
If you're
fire,
looking
yet
to
I
a
feel no
fun
burn.
a
Every
fun video,
trial I
you guys,
face
I'm
is a
gonna start.
lesson
This
to
could be
learn. I
a
don't
couple
deserve it, but His mercy still
videos
shows. Oh, this
about the
heart of
when you
mine
see the
bursts,
Earth is
and it
right here. We're gonna talk. This is what we're talking about.
overflows.
The
I've got
space,
that heavenly flow
the
lifting
science
me
behind
high.
it.
Wings of
We can
faith spread
agree
wide as
that
I touch the sky. Catch the
when we
light,
see the
catch
Earth,
the shine.
we can
Let
look
the
at
truth
space is hanging
unfold.
out of nothing.
I'm embraced
But
by a love
what if I can
worth
tell
more
you
than
that
gold. Every breath I take
it's also in the
is a
Bible?
gift I can't
In
deny.
a lot of
Guided
the
by a
science
force stronger
uh,
than the eye.
can be
The whispers in
back
my
up
soul are
through
loud and
reading the
clear.
Bible. The Bible itself
There's
has
no
a lot
darkness now,
of
for
fantastic
love is
science
here.
facts into the Bible.
Through the
It has
storms and
uh,
tides, He's my
well
steady
we're
ark.
looking at right
In
now.
the deepest
Talk
night.
about Earth hanging out on nothing, which we will look in at. We can watch it and look at from Scripture, uh, and we can put all that together in a sense by explaining how things works. Because the beautiful thing about science, we can look at the things. Oh, if you like this kind of thing, please uh, subscribe, share, put on notification, and let's all learn together. Let's all learn something new together. So we're gonna look at Brother Job. We're gonna hang on to this for a little while. We're going to talk about the depths of this, and the crazy thing is, this was written over 2,000 years ago. Uh, Job, Book of Job, is in the Old Testament. Uh, this is the part of the Tanakh stories, I believe, and you then because you have Torah, then you have Tanakh, and so on. So, um, well, we are going into Job 26, verse 7, and this gonna be wow. But so when we go right here, we're gonna start as I said, verse 7, Job 26. I'm using the New King James version, but since I will go on the other version, which is the King James version, and we can see the comparisons on the translations here, just for fun. So it says he stretches out his out the north over empty space. He hangs the earth on nothing. So that's the New King James version. We'll go to the uh, King uh, James version for those who like the difficulty of the same English language here. So we're gonna read it again. He stretcheth out the north over the empty place and hangeth the earth upon nothing. And it's and we can go back into Genesis and we can read that right here. In the beginning, God created the heaven and earth, and the earth was without form and void in darkness, with upon the face the deep and spirit God moved upon the face of the water. Uh, and God said that the light that was light in God saw the light that it was good and good, and God divided the light in darkness, and God called it the day, and the darkness He called night. So, um, we can see there in that beginning of that when God created, he formed it um, ha- ha- there, and and we go when we read Job, um, you see in Genesis we see how it's created, God how God is how God created the earth, and we go to Job 26 verse 7. It tells us that it's hanging on nothing um is just there. All right, so and it's the beautiful thing about this that um God spoke it into uh he spoke in the earth into existence. Now my theory is that when we go to Revelations, John's said that or John described God's voice of many waters. And my theory is when he spoke after no, and into nothing from nothing, so he spoke the words out, and he created by using his words. So imagine this, right? His voice can be so loud, and this for all the people who wants to, well, I believe it, the big thing. Help me out here. The force of God. If we say, well, his voice is loud enough to for a job, but that to be many waters, and not right. So you can imagine the if there's think about waterfall crashing down, and it's a shh. Now you times that by 10. That's pretty noisy in a sense, right? It's like a faucet that um constantly run at a high speed, and you have multiple sinks running at the same time. Enough water that's running, it can drain out a lot of people. It can be a lot enough where it can mask people voices and sound of itself. So and that's his like choir voice. So he doesn't kill John, but it's his loud voice. We can assume that God's voice can be loud enough to create a big bang, and this is how I could uh imagine, right? If we uh say, well, if the many waters that John here running, then that means God's voice can be a lot louder and can create what scientists believe a Big Bang. Now, um, so when we see this, the this space where the Earth is looking at hanging on to nothing, we can uh, match we are matching up what Job is saying into the Bible. So we go back to uh, Job here, and we can go back to 26, and then go back to 7, right? And we matches out where it says, and he hangeth the earth upon nothing. Job Job also has other uh, fun science, which we will go into. Part two, if you like this kind of thing right here, where we explore the magic of science and how science can uh, ultimately um, can work together beautifully, right, and not against each other. Both science and the Bible can work uh, beautifully together and to show the beautiful of the world of what how God created has created the world for us and how we can bring in the science and that how it doesn't contradicts science and a lot of the science a lot of the science now as far as the age of the earth uh we could say that so a day when God created let's go to Genesis real quick um but it says the first day so the God said the little bit the light in there was light and God saw the light and that it was good and God divided the light from the darkness and called the light day and darkness he called night and the evening and morning was the first day. Now we can see that God when he divided uh the sun and the moon and he created a sunrise. When the sun set, coming from uh, what is it, east and uh, is set to I believe it's yeah from the east, right? When we see it come up, we can it will give us a idea where east is and west and north. We can come to a conclusion of that because we can see that the when God created it and he acknowledged that evening and uh in the morning. So morning created um we know the evening ends the day and the morning starts a new day. Uh however it's the same thing with when we think about using the Sabbath and figuring out the Sabbath began and when it ends. We can see that the evenings Friday evening starts uh the Sabbath until and then ends on Saturday evening. So that's a whole 24 hours of the Sabbath. Where Sunday starts a new whole week over. Um, so when he divided uh the day and the night and he created the evening and morning to have the start and ending of the for our day. This day for him when he created the first day was a 1,000 years. We know this by when we read when Peter tells us that and God and one day for God is 1,000 years. So if it took God 1,000 years to create it in his time span, right? Because he's outside of time and the space, he can take his time and create uh, life on Earth. Which when we go on and it talks about um, um, the we'll go back to the next one. And when we look uh, at the other stuff that God creates, um, the day when we look when he goes into the second day, that's another 1,000 years. And we go down to um, the third day. That's another. So once we get to the third day, that's 3,000 years that pass. Okay, and the fourth day, that's 4,000, and then 5,000. You see, so when we read right here, the God said, "Let the Lord abound with and abundance in the living creatures, and let birds and flies above earth across the face and the of the firmament of the heavens." So God created the great seas, creatures, and everything living that moves, with which waters abounded according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good, and God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the birds multiply in on the earth." So the evening and the morning the were the fifth day. So that's 5,000 years. So he took 5,000 years to create uh animals and all the animals and everything that we see now on the in the five that not 15,000 years. Uh, so once now uh we are uh we we said we sow the evening and the morning for the fifth day. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to its kind, cattle and creeping things and the beasts of the earth, each according to its kind." And and it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to its kind, cattle to its kind, and everything that creep on the earth according to its kind. And God saw it is good. Then we get to said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion of the fish of the sea and of the birds, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image, and and, uh, in the image of God he created uh male and female. He created them. So he he now we so we have I'm assuming that um we can see that men and beasts are living together in harmony. And this is before the great sin and the falling of mankind. We can see that we can read all this, and we can also read that the animals uh were ate orbs. They didn't eat meat. No mankind, nobody, mankind. It's a we can uh this science confirms this as well. And God said, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed is rich as one of the faces of all. The earth and the tree whole fruit yields seed, and yours shall be food. Also to the every beast on earth, every bird in the air, and everything that creeps on the earth, which there is life, I have given every green herb for food. And it was so. And God saw everything that He had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and morning was the sixth day. So we know that on the fifth day we see God was starting to create animals and stuff. He continued creating beasts and stuff like that, and He created male and female all in the last little day before He decided to rest. Right? We can definitely go to the next level, the next episode, next story, and we can see that God will rest on the seventh day. Yeah, so He does the heaven and earth, and all the hosts of them were finished. In the seventh day, God ended His work which He had done, and He rested on the seventh day for all His work which He had done. Then God blessed the seventh day. So sanctified it, because it in it He rested from all His work which God had created and made. This is the history of the heavens and earth when they were created in the day that the Lord God made the earth and heavens. For they for the for before any plant and field was on the and before any earth on the field had grown. For God had not caused it to rain on earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a mist went up from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Lord formed and out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life. The man became a living being. So we have a lot of science from Job and Genesis right there. Uh, so we cannot breathe life into somebody. Oh, we cannot create. We can maybe we can produce life by procreation, by having a male and a female having have and they do and they have intercourse, and God can grant them and bless them with a baby in the womb, and that is another great miracle that God does for us. And if you again you like this kind of thing, uh, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and put a notification on. I am out.